Oh boy, you know things are bad when a new system comes out in New World and I have to make a video about it. I was expecting it, however, because of so many red flags beforehand. Let's talk real quick about the system itself. The UI, as always, looks absolutely fantastic. It's just missing a progress bar and a toggle to skin and drops. That would be great. Also, because transmogging is tied to the item and New World as nature has a lot of variety, different builds, because it's a classless game, this works really well with the gear sets. Now, for the questionable things regarding this system, you do not have to bind on equip gear to unlock the transmog. This basically completely kills the market in farming rare sellable transmogs because you would never have to equip it and waste it. You can just sell it back right away. The item names do not match up with the transmog UI. This is confusing, but I think I know why they're doing this. My prediction is that they're moving away from default tier 1, 2, 3, and so on, and give each tier their own name. Sadly, there's also no exciting transmog pop-up like the aptitude and expertise. There's not even a sound when you unlock a new transmog. It's not very exciting when you unlock a new one. It also doesn't show if you buy it from the trading post or if you craft it because it's purely tied to the loot interface only. Also, in regards to buying transmogs from the trading post, there is no option to filter non-collected. Now that the names are completely different of the items in game and the one in the UI of the transmog, what makes this even worse is that 99.9% of the transmogs don't even have a working tooltip, so it's very hard to see where you can collect this item. Also, over half of the transmogs that I'm missing right now are not even obtainable in the game. There's also no tier text inside the transmog interface, which makes it really hard to distinguish which ones you actually need. A lot of them are also placed in the wrong weight category or have a completely wrong name. Another thing is that sadly there is no achievements related to transmog because beginners might get overwhelmed just opening their transmog tab and seeing so many transmogs they haven't collected yet. Just a simple achievement as unlock all the armor sets from Amrine Dungeon or Starstone could help them picking goals easier. Also, a small shameless plug here. If you're struggling where to get each set because the names are different, New World database has been absolutely popping off. If you need any information about this game, I highly recommend you to use the website. It helped me so much in my journey of getting 100% in New World. With that out of the way, it's time for a deep dive. I'm going to try and explain everything regarding the system, why it's important, what it does long term for the player growth, the participation, and my displeasure with the current monetization change. Let's start completely at the basics, the player base of an MMORPG. What does it consist of? Well, a lot of subcategories and a lot of different type of players. Most of these categories partake in one activity, maybe two. Obviously, you still have the casuals who dabble their feet into everything just a little bit, but the category collectors dedicate themselves like no other to every piece of content. And this is because of the nature of their goals. They're trying to chase every single transmog, pet, mount, furniture piece, achievement, whatever it may be in the game. They will try and hunt it down, no matter what kind of content it is. If you have enough of these players, they can repopulate, which can help newer players getting a better experience, because right now no one is doing the lower level dungeons. I highly suggest adding a system like Expedition Roulette, where max level players can queue, and join lower levels having their expedition lobby open trying to do Amrine. Reward these max level players with unique transmog, styled like an adventure, maybe a chest piece with a backpack or something, because you're helping beginners on their adventure. To attract some fresh level 60s participating in the system, also give them a few expertise bumps, and on completion, a chance of a transmog token. So what happens psychologically when you time gate or paywall transmog? Well, the main reason players feel like their time is validated in MMOs is because other players can see their accomplishments. Things like achievements, titles, pets, mounts, gear from difficult content, gear with extremely low drop chance. So let's create a scenario with the current Transmog system. You farmed your 5 Harbinger pieces. You get 1 token that week. Now you have to wait an entire month before you can use the set. I don't know about you, but if I unlock something new that I've been grinding for, I want to try it on right away and flex it because at that moment my excitement is at the highest. And this is just a low drop chance armor set that you want to flex. Maybe you've just cleared a new raid and you got a cool weapon that you want to transmog right away as well. Or you've been wanting to make a very casual set for when you go out gathering. Maybe you play multiple builds with different weapons and each has their own identity. Maybe you have a PvP build and you want to use a gladiator themed transmog. Maybe sometimes you do healing on the weekend and you want a druid style transmog. You just keep stacking transmogs without having the tokens for it because the source of token income is just one a week. So what will happen next is quite obvious. You might lose interest in going out to farm these transmogs or the system altogether. With your entire backlog full of transmogs, you are grinding those chests, holding the W until you reach the chest, you press the E button as hard as you can, hoping that you will get that 1% drop chance transmog token, doing world tours every single day. After about 6 hours, you finally reach the drop rate, but don't be fooled by 1%. It's a lot worse than you think. As a completionist myself, especially in World of Warcraft, grinding all the things, I've grinded a lot of 1% mounts before, and do not be surprised if you get fucked by RNG one day and miss out on a transmog token that week. Some of my mount attempts took over 300 runs. I don't know about you, but opening 300 elite chests is quite a lot. So what is truly going on here? Why is this system designed in this anti-consumer way?
Hello, I like money.
Thank you, Mr. Krabs. So to elaborate on this, I'm going to show you my analysis. So why would you add Transmog token to just elite chests? Something that mostly newer players engage in to get their expertise up, so you're alienating most of your player base. Well, if the activity is so mind-numbingly boring, you are less likely to do it. So what ends up happening is you get incentivized, basically manipulated into buying the premium track for tokens or buy Transmog tokens from the store directly. Meanwhile, Arena is turning into a wasteland, mutations are dead, and all the regular dungeons besides the Taxi Genesis runs are also dead. Even the new Sandworm raid has 0 pugs going on anymore, and people even rarely show up for organized Discord runs. You can tell where the priorities lie just from these decisions, and it's clearly not incentivizing players to do content, especially with the 1 token a week limit, but it's rather to fill their pockets. The 1 token a week limit is another great tactic to manipulate you into buying because the demand of tokens is so high, but the supply is insanely low and always limited to 1 a week. This is commonly used in mobile games. You ran out of resources, gems, crystals, click here to buy more. I'm going to tell you how many new transmogs have been added in Season 2, and there's probably more because I tracked these myself in my Google Sheet. It's 232. A season lasts 12 weeks, so you can get 12 tokens, with the game almost having 4,000 transmogs, and looking like each season adds another 200, maybe even 300 every 3 months. The demand for transmogs is crazy, and the gear in New World has been looking fantastic, so I find it baffling how all they can spare is 1 transmog token a week. So how did this even happen? Why did it make it through the PTR like this? Wait, what did you say, Jimmy? There wasn't a PTR for the most anticipated feature since launch, but leaderboards did? Of course there was no PTR for Transmog. Like most features, they're nowhere near done, as you can clearly tell from everything that I pointed out at the start of the video. Not only that, there's a deeper tactic in not having this on the PTR, because the amount of backlash right now regarding this system and the once a week 1% drop rate is crazy. If it was like this on the PTR and people were aware before it launched, most likely the player base would have held them accountable if they didn't change it into something more reasonable and consumer friendly. For example, changing the weekly token limit from maybe 1 to 3. Transmog was supposed to be a complementary system to the skins, like furniture store items are to housing. It was also supposed to incentivize dead content, which there's a lot of in New World, and bring people together. So what will happen next? Well, more than likely, like I mentioned before, they might change the weekly limit from 1 to 3 to calm the storm. As for the system itself, you can probably see a small increase of people farming transmogs like Harbinger, Augur, Corrupted Rage, but I don't think it will last very long. I think players will get bored of chest runs very quickly, and surely but slowly, they will start to realize that the weekly limit and how the system is designed is to purely lure them into buying tokens from the store. I think this update has seriously damaged their reputation, and right now they're doing the exact opposite of what they should be doing. This game is not free to play and it has no business monetizing this much, not to mention the lack of content every single season, but honestly, ever since launch. This game has a serious population problem and a reputation problem. I'm going to make a pretty dumb analogy right now. I've been a little addicted to Hell's Kitchen as of recently. So what's essentially happening is they have a restaurant with barely any customers because the food is mid. So they keep upping the price to compensate for the lack of customers. At one point, you have no one left and Gordon Ramsay will be on your doorstep and yells, "Shut the place down!" Transmog was the perfect time to regain trust in the player base. The store should complement the content within the game. What I mean by this is, if they had Transmog before the Sandworm came out, you release the Sandworm with fitting Transmogs. At the same day you launch it, you have a store update with high quality fitting armor that you can mix and match with the Sandworm Transmogs. You could do the same with furniture, mounts, pets. Fitting store items with content drops would be a smart thing to do. So what should they do now? The best thing they could do for the longevity of the game is remove the Transmog token limit and add the token to these drop tables. Expedition bosses. I'm talking about the main bosses in expeditions like Scylla and Charters from Lazarus. Aptitude crates for skillers, PvP reward track outpost rush and arena chests for the PvP players, corrupted breaches, invasions, defection banner, and rotating events like the Siege of Sulfur that's coming up very soon. Give every type of player the ability to enjoy the system and reward the players playing the game accordingly. Watch the population and the positivity about the game increase, because a happy customer is more likely to spend money on your game. If you don't have any players, your season pass becomes basically useless. This game can easily self-sustain with expansions, season pass, and all the store items they have right now. I think that's about it. I'm gonna end the video here so I'm not sitting here in my room talking to myself in the microphone without my fan on while it is super hot right now in my country and I'm sweating my ass off. As we complete the deep dive, I hope you now have a deeper understanding as why the implementation is quite predatory and does damage to the game long term. I would love to hear what you guys think is gonna happen, if they're gonna up the weekly token limit, and if they're gonna add it to other pieces of content as well. Maybe one day this system will not be so bad after all. Be sure to like and that subscribe button, and until next time, later.